is bringing up the rear. We're towing Jigger back to camp. I'm sad to say we're towing Jigger. So I don't know if we're going to get a chance to get back to do Fireside Chat, because we've got to tow the Jigger and we're going to just chat to you while we're here. Brent's got the earpiece, so he'll get any questions that are coming in. Something different. This is what happens. We're in the middle of Africa. The vehicle broke down on me. I did all that I could. I opened up the fuel filter and I got drenched in fuel trying to clear the fuel filter. It still didn't work. Everything's working except it's not firing. So I don't want to press my luck. I don't want to burn anything out by keeping to try and start up the Jigger. So the best thing, because it's dark, we don't have tools.
Buffalo.
Hello, Mr. B.
Rather see them on the vehicle than while we're walking, while we're sitting at Fireside Chat.
That's true. Big old boy, actually. Right here, he's not even bothered with us.
Oh, there you go. Get the speed up again.
Oh, you smell that? Sure. The strongest buffalo smell we're ever going to get.
I think we just drove over some fresh dung as well. It's coming off the tyre.
Okay, so Brent, Mark, VM behind camera, Brian bringing up Jigger on the tow rope at the back, Alex in final control. This is Sunday Night Fireside Chat. Welcome to send any questions in. You're welcome to.
We've got a bit of a Buffalo traffic jam coming up.
Looks like it. Speaking of traffic jams, you've had a bit of a leopard traffic jam this last few weeks.
I have. I just so sad I couldn't keep it going. So I think.
Yeah, you just.
Well, another buffalo, and there's a bunch in front of us.
Roadblock. Okay, well, might as well just switch off and chat.
Just sat for a second. I think it's 20 or 21 days. I'm going to ask you guys to send in which it is that we've had cats every day. Out here, days seem to merge into each other. I just swallowed a fly. It's one of the problems about sitting around buffalo. Thank you. But 20 or 21 days. Well, the streak, there's still a possibility it's not over. While we are towing the vehicles back, we still might find a leopard.
We did joke about that.
Yeah, no, we did on the radio. We were joking while going. So if we find a leopard, we'll go live again.
Off-road towing the vehicle.
Off-road towing the vehicle. Very different for what we normally do. But yeah, it's been really good leopard. Can't really complain.
No, but you've actually been responsible for most of them.
Yeah, I've been lucky. It's a good thing I love tracking.
I know. I think that's what I was getting at, is that you've been doing some awesome tracking. I'm very impressed, actually.
Okay, we're going to try to sneak through the buffalo.
Because these are all the boys that were sleeping around Gary Dam today.
You know, otherwise
we spent some time with them. There were 20 of them.
Yes. And there were about 15 at Treehouse.
Did you see baby hippo tracks at all today?
I did.
They're like smaller than a lion.
And I saw the hippo.
Yes, me too.
On the way home. On the way home tonight. Yeah. But yeah, the leopard's been good. Lion, not so good.
No, but it sounded like while I was on leave you had good lion. It's just the last week while I've been back.
Yeah, the last week's been difficult.
I got back and the lion left. Although I did get some good lion on Arathusa.
I also had that one sighting on Arathusa.
Gosh, look at these flies now. Unfortunately, with the lights on,
and the buffalo.
We didn't think of that, did we?
No.
Driving right past buffalo. They must be thinking, I wish that people could drive past us often enough to take all the flies away.
I don't know if you can see them on Mark's shirt, but there are literally hundreds of them.
No, I'd say thousands.
Yeah, and you don't even want to look back on. Oh, shame, poor Djuma behind the light must also be covered.
Oh, Brian. Yeah, that was great, having those two sticks females with the two. But you got the best of them. I got the flat.
We were quite lucky. They didn't move very far before they went flat again.
But I think what it was that you had your lights off and there were those side lights. And you got those. That was often that you can do that. We did that with the leopard the other day, just below the dam wall.
It's one of the joys of two vehicles,
I suppose.
Okay, now we're going to start climbing the hill.
Easier than going downhill towing a vehicle. Towing a vehicle is not just a simple matter of picking up a tow rope. You've got to remember that if the car's got no engine, to some extent it doesn't have much in the way of brakes.
Or steering.
Well, in this case, the power steering is another thing too. But when we're going downhill, the vehicle at the back, and this is something to remember if you ever have to tow a vehicle, when you're going downhill, the vehicle at the back has to brake for the vehicle in the front, because if the vehicle in the front brakes, the the instinctive reaction of the person at the back is too slow to react accordingly, and you'll invariably have the back, or rather the back vehicle.
Wrong gear.
The back vehicle flying into the front vehicle going down a hill.
Oh.
So, yeah, important that the back vehicle controls the braking of both vehicles.
No, man.
What?
Leopard tracks. These are on top of mine from this afternoon.
Really?
Yeah. He's coming down here. Looks like one of those.
Back down.
Back down.
On the breath.
Terrible, terrible little boys. Well, we'll have to find them in the morning. Start a new streak.
Well, this is one thing I wanted to say about it, is that if it was to be anything longer than the streak that we've had, we wouldn't have a chance to beat it, because it would go so long we wouldn't have enough days to the end of drive.
That
I don't
is
know
true.
when that's going to be, but we can't be sure. But anyways, at least now we can have a streak. It's going to be a challenge.
It is. That's how I think. So, Alex, have there been any answers of how long the streak was? Well, let's work it out. Christine says 21 days.
I think it was...
But I think it was...
line.
Yeah, no, it's just those tracks, the same ones. I think it was 20 days.
I know that it was from about the second or third day into March.
I arrived on 26. First one was, I think, 28th.
26th of Feb.
28th of Feb, yeah.
No, when you arrived.
No, the first day we got the beginning of the cat. So 28th.
Well, then it's 23 days.
Ah, I can't remember.
I mean,
Saturday,
22.
Sunday,
Today's
Monday,
the
it's all the
22nd.
same. 22nd.
What's today? That's the 22nd.
22nd. 21 days. 21 days streak.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. That's going to be a tough one to beat. But I love a little challenge.
Well, it's going to be even more difficult because you're going on leave.
Oh, well, Scott's going to have to do some tracking.
Well, I suppose I'm going to have to pull my end a little bit.
Oh, and we're arriving on quarantine. Sorry, go again.
Okay, white-tailed mongoose. Time for a white-tailed
Negative. He's directly behind us. Oh, well done. I'm trying to show. There we go. There's Brian being towed.
Where's the thumb?
He's trying to hide.
From the light.
Yeah. Hey Alex, we're starting to get a little bit closer to camp, so if there are any questions before we have to unhitch the vehicle and start trying to play with it.
Beautiful evening. It's
Yeah.
an evening of
So go again with the name.
warm summer. It's almost humid. It's almost like it's midsummer at the moment. The only thing that gives it away is that it's very dusty and everything is so dry. But other than that, it's an unusually warm summer evening.
We got a question from Rita in Texas. Rita would like to know when Scott's back. Well, either Monday, tomorrow, or Tuesday. It just depends on the transport coming down from Johannesburg.
Well, why couldn't you start that with it depends?
Well, it depends. Monday or Tuesday. We'll find out tomorrow, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's good.
And then I think there'll be three of us for a day or two.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You go on Wednesday.
I go on Wednesday. Well, that's my last discussion. Go ahead.
Time for all of us to go off.
Question. She wants to know whether I think dishwashing should be a shared responsibility or a ratio. What is the ratio of us doing dishwashing? Rosie, I'm going to be absolutely honest. I'm completely terrible. I've never done dishes in my life, and I don't plan to start at 31.
Really?
I don't do dishes. That dishwater. That gives me the heebie-jeebies.
That's interesting.
But
I've never heard of that as an excuse to do dishes. That you got a phobia about dishes.
It's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. The one thing that is quite lucky because we work in the bush and in a camp, and because our hours are quite unusual, we don't normally have to do things like dishes or washing clothes.
Leaves the dirty ones for. Oh, you're right. Sorry.
We're quite lucky. We've got a wonderful lady who comes in and does all the dishwashing and washes our clothes, makes our beds for us. So we're quite lucky.
Housekeeper.
Our housekeeper, yeah.
Our house mom.
Yeah.
Zodwa.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I stay in the bush.
Except Sundays.
Except Sundays.
You've got to see our kitchen on a Sunday.
and it's worse because Scott's not here, because Scott cleans on us. Like if there's enough dirty dishes. Oh, and VM cleaned today actually as well. Oh. VM and Scott are good like that. We're quite bad.
Yeah, it obviously goes unnoticed when I clean, but that's fine.
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice.
But yeah, it's
sorry, what was that
it's a
question
communal thing. We all do our own part for most of it. And Zodwa does bring up the rear. She's our housekeeper. We are very grateful for an opportunity to be able to do this, and it just would be a little bit more of a bearing on us, I suppose, to have to do all our. Oh, there's a Scott.
Brian, I'm gonna brake. So start braking for me.
Marula.
Oh, let's see if we can spot him.
Well, how are you gonna reverse now?
We can't.
I can't see it. It's deep in the crown.
Larry from Indiana would like to know
calling.
how long I'm going to be on leave for. 8 days, more or less, I think. Is how long I'm going to be on leave for.
Yeah, we're working about a 2 week on, 1 week off cycle.
3 weeks.
Sorry, 3 weeks on, 1 week cycle. Initially we used to do a sort of a 6 week on, 2 week off, but it's been, I think it's it's working well the way it is now. We do 3 weeks on, a week off. I think Brent and I are the ones that are the lucky ones because we don't live very far. we local boys.
We live just up the road.
But it can take me longer to get home than, say, Scott going to Cape Town. He can get to Cape Town quicker than I can driving home, which is a couple of hundred.
What have we got?
A beetle.
Fruit chafer.
No.
No.
It's one of the scarabs. It's not a chafer.
Oh, sorry, not chafer.
It's not like the rose beetle. Dropped it.
I'm going to end off. We need to try sort out the vehicle.
It's the grub of those beetles that chew the roots of roses and a lot of those little white grubs that you find when you're gardening. They've got like a black tip to their abdomen because that's where all the waste is, but they tend to chew on your roots of your plants.
Shoot with the questions.
Okay, we're ending. There's my dwarf coral tree. Didn't have any seeds. We had those beautiful red flowers. I don't know if you remember those beautiful red flowers on the dwarf coral a little while ago. Everything was starting to get dry, and we had those beautiful coral red flowers. And sadly, it didn't seed.
Well, we've got a question from Alicia in New Jersey. We're going to take 2 more questions after this. We are at the entrance to camp, and then we're going to try sort out the vehicle for our sins. Alicia would like to know, do we ever get lost on any of these roads, especially at night? Well, touch wood, I haven't been lost yet. I've just been temporarily unaware of my exact position occasionally. But here we're quite lucky because we've got some big boundary roads, and once you hit one of those, you sort of, oh, what's beeping? You know where you are. In the Sabi Sands, the road network. Okay,
Pretty
sorry.
difficult to get lost.
Yeah. Oh, we're causing a traffic jam.
We are.
I'm just gonna. Well, we'll do another loop to answer the question.
I guess we'll have to.
Or we can actually just duck off it. No, we can duck off here and let them go straight.
Yeah. Okay, Brian, you're braking. Turn in where it says no entry.
Evening. Right, let me just return your blanket quickly. So we found a blanket on here, Drive. Does this look familiar? Yeah.
Sorry, disruptions in the middle of this. I was hoping you weren't going to mention that. How dare you, Lex? Electrical.
Is it electrical?
Yes.
Starter, I think. Okay. Cheers. Come join Mark up here. It's going to be a bit easier for him. Am I too high? Am I good?
You're fine. I've kind of forgot where we were, but...
So Alicia was asking if we got lost.
Oh, we get... No, well, I suppose here in the Sabi Sand, you can get lost in a small sense, because going into a new area, I think all of us...
knowing your way around.
Yeah. For Brent and Scott, they had to come to Djuma, they had to learn the roads around Djuma, but even for me, although I'd known the roads around Djuma, having access onto Arathusa was a completely new experience for me. I'd never been onto Arathusa, it was a matter of learning the roads. Now, it wasn't a case of getting lost as much as a case of they're very distinct boundaries, and those boundaries might just be a little two-track road. It's not a very distinct road like we have on our boundaries. All three of the boundaries of Arathusa,
yeah, they're not great roads.
They're two tracks, and so you can sort of lose your bearings a little bit. But getting lost in this part of the world is different. Salou, cloudy day or cloudy night, no stars, no wind, like this hot, humid summer evening, cloudy sky, middle of Salou, no roads because you're off road. You've been off road for hours.
No, Salou, I got lost a couple of times in southern Salou. And where I was, the place I got lost the worst was on the foothills of the Emberika Mountains on a cloudy night. So you got these huge valleys, and this is Miombo, and following an old hunting track where you're trying to follow blazes. So a blaze is where someone takes a machete and cuts a little thing on the tree, and you basically follow it. And this road probably hadn't been used in 20 years.
Yeah. And
I was trying to open it up as a new game drive road. And we turned around about 8 o'clock at night to try head back to our fly camp, and we eventually got home at about 2 in the morning, and lots of dead ends and stuck in the Miombos for hours and hours and hours. But another place is bad for that, Botswana, because it's so flat.
That's also true.
There's no mountains.
Unless you can get a height advantage, and I've often had to climb marula trees and things to get bearings, because Botswana, well, especially in the middle of the Okavango Delta, some of those papyrus channels, you can't see more than a couple of feet on either side of 10, 12 foot high papyrus. So yeah, that is another place. Yeah. And especially with the number of channels and distinctive rivers within that marsh system. We're talking about an inland delta of, 20,000 kilometers? Something like that. It's a vast area of inland delta. It's probably one of the only deltas in the middle of a land mass. Inland deltas, probably also one of the only deltas in the middle of a desert.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's the only delta in the world that does not flow through to the sea. It stops in the middle of the Kalahari.
Yeah.
Though it's had some very good rain over the last few years. The Boteti's been flowing down into Lake Au, but it didn't have a good water year this year. So it looks like the Savuti might actually dry up this year. Again, which is normal. It works in cycles. So you got another one from Suzanne saying, "I'll pick up animal poo, but I won't touch dishwater." Yes, that's the truth. I'd much rather pick up impala poo than touch dirty dishwater. Okay, let's have another question there, please, Alex. Moving on.
changing the subject.
Doug, evening Doug from Connecticut. Doug is wondering if Brian got back his pillow. It wasn't Brian's pillow, it was Andrew's pillow that Andrew left on the vehicle we were using, and it fell off while we were following Djuma.
Yeah.
But fortunately, yes, another vehicle picked it up. Like we just returned a blanket, they returned our pillow.
Yes.
So
I got it from Mark.
Yeah.
And I put it back. I'm actually sitting on it now. This is the very pillow, the famous pillow.
The one that landed in the buffalo poo.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's dry by now.
Yeah.
But it's cushioning my bum against this door because it's hard sitting on these doors. But this is fun. I wish we could have done fireside chats in a similar fashion. We might even do it without towing the vehicle, of course.
Yeah. Especially maybe not. It may be more interesting to do on our way home after we close off, because then there's still a chance we might find animals.
That's true. True.
Okay, Alex, we'll take one last question before we go in and start playing with
It's quite a good plan, actually.
the vehicle.
That we meet up after drive on a Sunday, and one of us climbs onto the other vehicle, cameraman brings the other vehicle home, and we just do a drive home at night in front of... Yeah, that's it.
Just mix it up. We can do both.
That's right. We can, especially since we were planning on doing a fireside chat down here at our camp this evening. We'll do that next week. Brent unfortunately won't be here, but Scott will, so Scotty and I will be doing that next week. I'm also thinking of maybe we can get one or two people to come and join us. We've had a request that also maybe a cameraman join us on Fireside Chat, which I think is a very good idea too, because we only need one camera person while we're filming Fireside Chat, and of course we are a crew, so it would be good to have whoever's part of the crew on Fireside Chat.
Here we got the last question is from Maggie in Ohio. It's more of a sort of personal question related to our camp life. Maggie would like to know who of the team is permanent, and who does the cooking. Well, no one is permanent. Everyone will have a chance to take some break. Although Brian is being a soldier, and he's done I think 3 months now without a break. So he's going to be going on a break quite shortly.
For quite a while.
Yeah, for quite a nice long break, and he definitely deserves it. Yeah. So everyone rotates generally. With the cooking at the moment. We all take turns when we get home. Just depending, when we order the food on a Monday, we'll decide what we want to eat that week, and then everyone will choose a meal that they'll cook. Normally, it's how it's been working, but that all changes next week. We're getting a cook to cook first. We're going to be even more spoiled out here. Yeah, and then so we basically just drive home and dinner's done.
Which is going to make a difference too, I think, because at the moment, getting back at the time that we do and only starting cooking, then we're eating very late.
Yeah, and when you have to wake up at 5.
Yeah, it does make a little bit of a difference.
It does.
Yeah, so it's going to be a pleasure. I'd rather have someone cook than have someone come and do my bed and do the dish. I'll do the dishes, I'll do my bed, I'll do my laundry.
No, I'll just have both. It's much easier.
You've been spoiled.
I've been living in safari lodges too long.
Yes, I've been a bachelor too long. But that's something that's going to have to change, because I don't know how many women are going to tolerate that sort of...
Oh, why do you think I'm single?
Well... Rhetorical questions asked.
Well... Alex is making jokes in my ear. But anyway, guys, it's been wonderful. Sorry we couldn't do the normal fireside chat, although I think this is quite nice. It worked out quite well.
It's been great.
So I'm going to say goodbye, and then I'll hand over to Mark to say goodbye, and then from Brian, Vim, and Alex, well, you got to see a bit of the behind the scenes, us towing vehicles. Mark, I've had to smell him smelling of petrol for the last half an hour, but we're going to go try fix the vehicle. So over to Mark, and we'll see you in the morning.
Thanks, Brent. It's been great. It's been fun doing this little bit, but yes, I am covered in petrol. It's time for me to have a shower. It's not very pleasant. Love you lots, and from me then, as well as the rest of the crew, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Goodbye, everybody.